Hi, and welcome back to the Conversation Podcast with me, your host, Luis Antonio Ramirez. I'm pretty excited because a great friend of mine joins me as my guest today. His name is Mishka Shubaly. He's an author, a songwriter, smartass, and also an ultra marathon runner. Don't forget, you can subscribe to my YouTube channel or Apple Podcasts to get more great, raw, and unfiltered conversations with me, Luis Antonio Ramirez, on the Conversation Podcast.
Is this working? Can you hear me?
Dude, you look sexy as shit.
Dude, I just woke up. I haven't washed my face. I'm just like looking at my eye boogers and like bad news. What's going on, brother?
Man, I am so happy to see you, dude.
Been a long time.
It has. And you look fucking great, man.
It's funny, it's like with everything canceling and shit, I've just been running my ass off. And like, it's summer here. It's always summer here.
Yeah.
So it's like, the world is going to shit and, everybody's, tons of people in ill health, and I probably look healthier than I have in a long time right now.
I was actually motivated by you today. I went for a fucking quick run.
Yeah.
And I imagined your feet on your legs on me, because obviously you're taller than me. So it's just like, I broke like a 8:20 mile, which
Right
I haven't done that shit in a while. I only did 2 miles, but still, it's just like, I have to get it in. I have to get in before this 12 o'clock call. And I was like, Mishka will push me. So let's do it.
Well, it's good because I slept in as late as I could today. But I ran yesterday. I'll run again tomorrow. It's tricky, because like right now it's like, you feel like you should be doing all the like sort of weird like doomsday prepper shit. But, but also I'm not going to beat this. You're not going to beat this. What we can do and what we have to do is just keep ourselves healthy, and not get sick. If you do get sick, don't give it to anybody else. It's just sort of like basic citizenship stuff.
That's true.
Being a good citizen, like, this is sort of the paying your taxes kind of thing.
It fucking sucks, man, that it puts us all in a bind. I'm obviously, I think I know. I think you're healthy, right? Because last time I saw you, you were running like a fucking beast, right? But seriously, man, my wife, she has a sickle cell, and that puts us all in a bind, right? And when you have people that just are not aware, or they just don't give a fuck, it puts people like her and everybody else at risk, even yourself or me, because we're both healthy. It doesn't really matter, right?
Yeah. Is your daughter at risk too? Does she have sort of like lingering health complications too?
Definitely. And the challenge to that too is that she's in New Jersey right now. So as you know, the tri-state, man, they're really getting it, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, obviously we're all at risk, but those individuals, like you said, like my daughter, which has the pulmonary hypertension, she's also at risk too, man.
Yeah. I was thinking about your mom and dad too, because like I still remember like hanging out with them, and they're in Jersey. They're in the middle of the shit.
No, they moved, man. They moved down to Dominican Republic.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah.
dude, that's great news. I'm glad to hear that. Who knows what the situation is like in the DR though? An uncle of mine was down in Mexico when this started popping off, so he was like, "I'm just going to stay here," because Mexico hasn't reported any cases, and they still haven't reported any cases, but they're reporting deaths from pneumonia and flu and stuff like that. So it's like they're not testing for coronavirus, but people are getting sick down there, and people are dying.
What part of Mexico is he in?
Huatulco?
Is that where you spent that month over there? Remember that time you
Yeah. No, I was just down there this winter too. No, I go to Sayulita, which is a little bit north of Puerto Vallarta, and I think he's further south. But that that's the thing, is that like when people are scared, you run or you fight, and like we can't stay and fight it. It's not like it's a forest fire that's approaching and you're going to stand on the roof of your house with a hose and wet your house down to save your home. And where do we run? It's worldwide, and and the human beings are social animals. We need each other. We need, and and not just for for friendship and companionship, whatever. We live as a community. We need the infrastructure we've created for fresh water and the supply chain and food and toilet paper and all that stuff. And the way that you get sick is from other people. you know,
Pretty
so
simple.
yeah, it's such a conundrum. It's a crazy time to be alive, man. It's I like a lot of my friends back in the day were like, oh, you just need to meet the right girl and settle down, have some kids, you'll be feeling better. And I was always like, nah, it's not for me. And I take no joy in being right. Now, my friends who have, two, three, four kids, they're just like, what kind of world are we leaving for, are we leaving for our children? And is this the new normal? And is there going to be one of these every couple of years now?
Yeah, and it sucks, man. So I see you have some cats now, right? A- And you have a girl
I have a
too, I
cat.
think, right?
Yeah.
You guys married, engaged? What's up with that,
Hell
man?
no. Hell no. No, we're sheltering in place.
Okay.
The we I don't know, we dated for a minute, and Rachel's great. We run together sometimes, and she's been a huge help here helping with sort of just keeping the house together and whatnot. And it's great, also, like, if I was just here by myself, I would quickly get crazy. But also it's like the we're getting to the part of staying together in the house where it's like you know like you've been in the car, you're little kids, and you've been in the car together for 5 hours. And it's like, mom,
Are
like,
you there yet? Are you there
Rachel's
yet?
putting her hand on my side of the seat, and this is just the beginning, dude. This is like, we have no idea how long this is going to go. It was 2 weeks. Now it's a month. It's not going to be wrapped up in a month. I
Dude,
think it's still going to be getting worse in a month.
I think I'm projecting it's gonna be like 18 months. It's crazy to think like that, but
Yeah.
we gotta think. I think you gotta think like it's just gonna be like you said. It ain't gonna be a 2 weeks or a month.
Yeah. And here's the thing too, is that if you make the assumption that it's going to be big and bad and it's going to be a long time, then it's easy to dial it back from that. But if you make the assumption that it's going to be over in 3 weeks, then it's harder to recalculate in the other direction.
That's true. That's true.
You
And I think the fucking inconsistencies across the board in the United States, right? Or I guess around the world, right? Because when you look at other countries like what was it, South Korea, they pretty much buckled down and they've done a pretty good job, right? Compared to in comparison to the rest of the world, especially the United States, right? When you
Yeah.
have you're in Arizona right now. I'm not sure what the Arizona government is doing, but over here in I don't know if you heard about the Ohio government. Pretty much they locked down since I think they started like mid January, early February. The Arnold Classic, you probably heard of that.
Yeah.
Right? They canceled that immediately, way before they even people started coming over here, and it was a big buzz at that time. It was just like, how the fuck? Why is DeWine, which is the governor, going to do that? But because of that preparedness and mitigation aspect, man, helped out.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Arizona's a red state, and there's a lot, there's a big Trump rally across the street here, and and Arizona also has a big sort of like libertarian street of, there's like no laws here. Don't wear your seatbelt, build whatever the hell you want, however the hell you want to build it, go in and buy a gun, have it strapped to your hip. It is very much the Wild West out here still. And
Mm,
that's good and that's bad, you know. But we have a shelter in place order now, so it's you have to stay inside except for exercise, or solo exercise, or if you're have a if your job is essential, or if you're going out to get food or supplies or necessary stuff. So I mean, it's like a ghost town. And the I've been talking to a couple of friends who live overseas, talking to them about what the situation is like in the UK, and in Canada. And this is the thing, is that the my buddy Andy, who lives in the UK, he was like, "You guys are fucked. You guys are going to get it worse there than anywhere else," and it's because the Americans love their freedom. We fetishize it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and when the government tells us to do a thing, we're like, "Fuck all y'all! I'm going to go ride my jet ski." This is America. And nobody wants to be told, the spring break is canceled or whatever the hell. In the UK they have, the government is covering 80% of people's salaries, so people don't, go broke,
Yeah.
and there is sort of more trust in the government, and more sort of like a national sort of drawing together. The What's terrifying for me is that the way that they got ahead of this in Wuhan is with like top-down totalitarian repressive measures of like every house is locked down, you're thrown in jail if you're out on the street. Police and soldiers are going door to door, dragging out sick people. And if so, that's how you fight it. And if Trump takes those powers, he's not going to give them back.
No.
And if he tries, and if any state or any organization tries to, combat the spread of COVID that aggressively, people are going to fight back, and we have guns. So I see the potential to, I'm not like digging a bunker in my backyard yet, because I at the end of the day, I still do have faith in humanity. People still, we still believe in community. We believe in helping each other. And I think too, that's not just like something, something that we've learned. I think instinctually we understand that we're part of a pack or a hive or a greater, we understand that taking care of our friends and neighbors and people in our community benefits all of us. And we understand that at an animal level, that is an instinctual behavior to look out for one another. So I think that we are going to see, people doing the right thing in a lot of instances. But this is just the beginning, dude.
It is.
Shit is going to get worse every day for a long time here. And we need to be sort of like mentally and emotionally prepared for that.
I think about those things that you mentioned, right? Where the drastic measures they took in Wuhan. I think Singapore right now is just like they either jailing people for 7 years, or I think I'm killing them. I don't know. It's doing one of those extreme cases where it's just like, this is what you're gonna do, and if you don't do that, you're basically going to jail for 7 years. That's a drastic measure in itself. And I think what you said right there, where obviously I'm a gun owner myself. I'm not sure if you own any guns,
Nope.
but there's a lot of people in the United States that do own guns because they fear whatever that the government is going to take over, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And that's not the reason why I own a gun. It's just whatever. But it's crazy that may be a possibility, that if they do take that. I don't know. I don't think that the government here will do that, though. Not sure.
This is the thing, is that we're past all the projections. We're off the map.
Yeah.
The I think about some of the races that we did, where we would say, okay, I'm going to try to, manage, this pace per mile, and here's how I'm going to manage my nutrition and stuff like that. And then I remember peak races in Vermont, and it's like a Mike Tyson thing, everybody has a plan until they get hit. I remember doing that, the 53 miler in Vermont one time, and in the first 20 minutes they run you through the river. And I was like, motherfucker, now my feet are wet all day long. Really? That's the first thing you're going to do? And then they run you up a mountain, and then into the swamp. And it's like, God damn. And so we just need to adjust to this new reality of there being no reliable projections, or it's a new situation every day, and you have to evaluate every day and make the best the best decisions that you can with the information that you have at hand. And, balancing, preparedness with paranoia, that like you have to, um, when everybody was going out and getting bidets, I was like, that's dumb. I'm not going to do that. 2 days later, I was like, okay, where do I get one? Now we have one. I put it in the other day, and it's weird, the old butthole squirt gun. But when we run out of
Did you really get one?
yeah, dude, it's weird. I like I my ass has never been cleaner, and I've never felt dirtier.
I have never used one of those things, man. Never been cleaner and never felt dirtier.
I'm learning some things about myself I never wanted to know, Luis.
So should I go get one too?
I don't know, man. I mean, it seemed crazy at the time, but we're down to like 3 rolls of toilet paper now, and like,
I can
when
send
we
you some.
run out, I stockpiled a little bit of newspaper because when I was like, an idiot drunk when I was younger, we had no money for toilet paper. We had money for alcohol, but no money for toilet paper.
Yeah.
We wipe our butts with newspaper, but like that gets old real quick, and there's no way my girl is going in for that. So we did the bidet, and I don't know, man. I miss toilet paper.
When I started thinking about this podcast, I was like, who else can I have as a guest that probably has gone through something similar to everybody's going through? And I said, you know what? Mishka. When I first met him, what? You were in I think you had a red car. What was it? A red
a little Dodge Neon.
A Dodge Neon.
$500.
And yeah, $500. I think you were living in it too, right? For a while.
No,
you were schlepping it around. You were schlepping it around.
The van I lived in for a long time, but that Neon, I barely even fit inside it.
But one thing that I remember was that when I first saw you, it's just like, all right, you were eating basically beans from a can. Remember that? I think where was it that we met? We met up in New York State. It was, and
it was me and you and Jerome.
Yeah, Jerome as well. And you were just camping out. We were just camping out up there.
Yeah. And what was it? What we were doing?
Glear, I think it was.
Green Lakes.
Green Lakes endurance runs. Yeah, Glear. And at that point, that's what I remember. I showed up with, I thought I was highly prepared with all this crazy shit. You just showed up by yourself. Pair of shorts, sneakers, toilet paper, a can of beans, and you're good. So when I started thinking about this podcast, I was like, man, Mishka has gone through this exact same thing, and this is probably why I think it's best to have you on here, man.
You remember Billy Curtin?
Yeah, how is he, man?
He's good. He's good. So he and I worked together. And we worked with this guy on the job, dollar bill. And he would walk around the job site like smoking cigars and just sort of handing out advice. I hated him. And I think we all hated him. But he said something that has stuck with me and that I think is incredibly good advice for going into a race or for going into a new job situation, and also for going into this uncertain future that we're faced with, which is get comfortable being uncomfortable, right? Because if you can get comfortable being uncomfortable, then all these situations that we put ourselves in, or that we wind up in, I remember doing a run in New Jersey, and I got no good way, chafing around my butthole from running. And
I've been there before myself.
Yeah. And you just have to say, okay, this is it. This is my new reality, is that with every step, it's going to feel like
worse.
The most sensitive part of my body is just being sandpapered, but and to think about that now when we're sitting in our homes in relative comfort, it seems like a nightmare,
Yeah.
but when you're there running, you have to just say, okay, this is what it is. This is what I'm dealing with, or sleeping on the ground in a tent, or eating a can of beans instead of a big gourmet meal or whatever it is. If um, or that the wet heat that we endured in Florida doing that run down.
Oh, the
You
Key
know,
West,
yeah,
dude.
and like so to find a way to be comfortable being uncomfortable, to be comfortable wiping your butt with newspaper or using a bidet or crapping in the yard or whatever it is, that's going to be how we're going to survive this.
That's
You know,
true.
is to just overcome that discomfort.
But that analogy with the sandpaper that you said, man, I also went through that same. Obviously, that's the main reason why I had to stop in Key West 100
Oh,
because
I remember that.
it was burning. My whole crotch was just.
Yeah, and then
I've never
sweat
experienced
that
that.
runs into. Oh
Oh,
God.
and the sweat was going down. It's just like it was like you said, sandpaper down my crotch. And it's like I had to deal with that reality. It's either I continue and make it worse,
Yeah,
or I just stop. And I decided to
yeah,
join you, man. I
yeah,
said, "Fuck it."
yeah. No, dude, that was the right call. I still feel terrible about that race. That like
Why?
my job as a pacer was for me to tell you, no, Luis, it doesn't matter. No matter what, you keep going. No matter what, you keep going. No matter what, you keep going. But we just got to a point there where I was like, we're done. We're whipped, and I felt bad that I talked you out of it. Because
No,
that
no.
wasn't my role. But
Listen, I think your role has always been to be that brain, right? The pacer, like you said, because if I would have continued, let's just play this out. If I would have continued after 83 miles, whatever it was, after 28 hours of running, I would have continued. That chafing would have continued on, and then I would have bled. I would have been bleeding, right? Could I
yeah,
have finished? Maybe. Who knows? But I think
17 more miles of that when you were that exhausted in the middle of the night with and we were moving so slowly, and it was clearly like the look on your face, you were just wincing with every step.
it was, yeah, it was a logical move, man.
Yeah,
Uh, but
that was,
it's a lesson learned.
that,
Uh,
that was a crazy run, dude. So
have you done
crazy.
any others after that?
The I did a 50K. The winter of 2017, 2018, can't remember. A friend of mine came over from the UK. We trained for this 50K and did it together. The it's so much harder now than it was. You know, I am. I guess it was 2011 when I started doing ultras, and
Mhm.
so I'm almost 10 years older, and my body just doesn't bounce back the way that it did. And uh, I firmly believe that you don't stop running because you get old, that you get old because you stop running.
Mhm.
But the, but also like, I mean, I've pushed it sometimes and I've like forced myself to do stuff and then just paid the price afterwards. So right now I'm doing, Rachel and I were trying to train for a marathon before this shit went down. And then now I've sort of made the call that in order to continue training the way that we were, we were really sort of exhausting ourselves, with those long runs. And I feel like right now is not a great time to really exhaust yourself like that. So I'm trying to do, 6 miles 2 or 3 times a week and then do a longer run of like 10 miles or 12 miles on the weekend. Still do sort of, respectable distance enough to sort of keep myself in shape, to keep my head together, but not go out and do, crazy heroic miles. My joints just don't like it anymore. The ligaments and tendons are sort of creaky now.
Yeah.
Um, I think I still got, some good years ahead of me, and talking to, Rich Roll and John Joseph, those guys are, in their 50s and still cranking out Ironmans and shit like that. So it's definitely possible. But I was talking to another ultra runner, and he said, I just got to a point where it's like it's such a huge commitment of time, and he was like, was just exhausted or in pain or running,
Yeah.
all the time.
All the time. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I don't know. I feel good with where I wound up. You know, I would love to do another marathon length run this year, just to say that I still can. But I feel like I've gotten to a good point with running like a healthy running relationship. You know, where I run enough to stay fit and uh, you know, to manage to use it to manage my mental health. But it's, you know, it's not frantic or compulsive or obsessive, you know.
Yeah. I mean, I know what you're saying because I remember when when I started running it, I would look at older people. At that time, I was much younger, obviously 10 years ago, but they were still cranking it out, you know?
And
And it's
some people are, you know, I remember doing Bull Run, and there was a guy who was, you know, this white haired dude, probably 70, and I never caught him. I was chasing him all day. I never caught him. But um, but you and I are kind of thick. This guy had the like narrow coyote build, you know. Neither nor I have real like runners builds, you know.
No, not at all, man. Not at all. And even now, I don't look like that. You just said the coyote build. Is that what you said?
Yeah, yeah.
I don't have that coyote build anymore, my friend. Now it's like more like a bull, I guess.
There we go. There we
How your book sales going, man?
go. It's slowed down a lot. The you know, I could be out there promoting more and like hyping this stuff. You know, I still get a couple of nice notes a week from people who have read. I swear I'll make it up to you or the long run or other, you know, other stories. Um, Amazon sort of built that really cool platform for Kindle singles and then flooded it with so much content that they sort of killed it.
Yeah.
Um, and then now there's so much competition in that sphere, and it's so, you know, so I'm not making the money that I was, but I don't care. Money was never a huge motivator for me. It was uh, it was awesome to have the success that I did, and you know, mostly what I care about is like readership, that people are reading the stuff and that it's affecting them. And you know, I had a news story go up in January, and that's done, you know, that's done really well. And you know, I sort of check in on it from time to time. And it's funny, you know, the sort of categories that they put it in, because it was, you know, sort of number one in, you know, short reads for, you know, travel. And then at one point I looked and it was number one for short reads for parenting. I was like, what? I was like, dude, if you're looking to me or to this book for parenting advice,
That's not it.
you
What's the
know,
name of
yeah,
that book? That's the one that's what is
that's This Van Could Be Your Life.
there you go.
That was about a trip I took a couple summers ago with my family. I had this big old Chevy camper van and loaded my whole family into it, and we drove all the way up north to Saskatchewan. And it was totally crazy. It was the dumbest. It was dumb. It was crazy. It was dangerous, but we did it. You know, we made it. We survived, and yeah, it was a real trip. I do have a new book coming out soon. It's called Cold Turkey:
Cold
uh,
turkey. All right.
How to Quit Drinking by Not Drinking.
How to quit drinking by not drinking. Seems logical.
Yes. Well, this is the thing, man, is that we're in, it's like everybody's this fucking self help guru these days, and they're like, oh, you know, hack your life, and you know, we have this, you know, radical new program where you're gonna lose weight by eating fat, and you know, all these sort of counterintuitive things. And so I wanted to sort of push against that and be like, you know, you don't need to hack sobriety. There's a trick to it. You put the bottle down and you never pick it up again.
Simple.
That's what I did. You know, people say I don't know how to quit drinking, and that's bullshit. Everybody knows how to quit drinking, right? It's you just don't do a thing. um, what they're really saying is, when I remove alcohol from my life, what do I put in its place? So I try to tackle that bigger question too
Hmm.
of like, how to change your life, how to make it stick. I talk about what I did, and then I talk about ways in which I think it can be done better, like mistakes that I made. Um, and I'm not sure exactly when that will be out. I've sort of been going back and forth with Audible, with the publisher, about cover art and whatnot.
But you have it seems like you already have a lot, big chunk already written out, or
Oh, it's my part of it is done. It's written. It's recorded. We're just sort of like trying to get it in place, and figure out exactly when the launch date is.
and dude,
But uh, but it'll be out soon.
I think that's going to be valuable, especially for now, because I was reading a piece yesterday that it was on NPR, and it says that while staying home may be safer for a lot of people from spreading the COVID, it's also the addiction is going up, right? Addiction in alcohol, addiction in opioids, addiction in drugs. And I mean, it's pretty logical as well. The way it's just like, yeah, everybody's staying home to stay away from the COVID, but people, alcohol sales are just going off the roof, right? And that
Yeah,
leads to people just being bored or stressed or whatnot. And that right there just leads to people to drinking more.
yeah, yeah. I was talking to a friend about this the other day, and I said, there's never been a better time to get sober, to stay sober, to be sober. Right? You need to have your wits about you. Alcohol is a depressant. There's nobody who's like, yay, the entire fucking world is shut down. The so we're all climbing the walls. We're all going deep into our heads, and um, your brain cannibalizes itself. I mean, I'll like read the news. The first thing I do before I can get out of bed is like read the news on my phone. I'm like, oh my god, what am I waking up into? Then the last thing I do before I go to sleep is read the news. I'm like, oh my, we're all gonna die. And so I'm driving myself crazy with that. And if I was drinking right now, man, yeah, shit would like just be falling apart. But instead, I'm not drinking and I'm pushing back against it. And so each day, I try to do some like, some little things, the little things of just like play with my cat every day, scoop her stinky poop every day, you know, um, tidy up around the house, like, the little things like that. And then sort of like medium term things of like, okay, 3 months from now or whatever, like try to, I've been doing sort of one-on-one streaming concerts with people, trying to sell merch, trying to make a little bit of money, trying to keep some money coming in. And then also do some of the like longer stuff, the longer term stuff. I'm 43 years old. I don't have a will. God forbid something happen, the to lose a loved one is heartbreaking and disastrous. But when someone dies and then there's no will, then you're also left with this huge bureaucratic nightmare,
Yeah.
right? So I was like, well, God forbid that happened to me. I don't want my family dealing with this bullshit. So I went online. It took 10 minutes to do. It's weird to think about your mortality like that, but it's easier than doing your taxes.
You did it on LegalZoom?
I I did no. There's a million different options, but I did I did one that was free and like totally straightforward. Because I wasn't doing some long crazy like. And to my second cousin who I've never met, I leave my Lego collection from my child. No, it's just like, yeah, all my shit goes to my mom, and if my mom's dead by the time I die, then all my shit goes to my sisters, and it's pretty straightforward.
Simple, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
How's your mom doing, dude?
dude, she's doing great. She just posted a picture of her wearing her mask, and so I just before we got on the call, I just photoshopped that onto a picture of Bane from Batman. Sent it to my nephew, and, and her name's Elaine, and he wrote back right away, "E-Bane." And I said, you thought momness was your ally. I was born in momness. So we're just going back and forth.
Where's she living at
It's,
right now? She's still where's she at right now?
so on my street. You got to come visit us at some point when all this bullshit is over, or at
Oh,
least when it
consider
winds down,
that done, my friend.
when we can travel. But
Consider
my
that
mom
done.
lives 5 doors down the street from me.
Oh, all right.
The we have a rental property together, and so we rent out the house in front, and then there's a little sort of rickety old house in the back. It's like an apartment over the garage. So that's where she lives. So it's great. We have her up there like Rapunzel. She's just locked away, and every once in a while I'll come over and she'll lower her basket down and put groceries in there and pull it back up. But she's doing great. It's hard because she and I have such different ways of approaching the world. I'm always sort of doom and gloom and pessimism. And, she was like, oh, my positive outlook and sunshine and a smile on my face is going to be what gets me through this. And there's a lot of wisdom in that. We do need to smile at each other. We do need to stay positive. We do need to have hope and faith for the future. But also I sat down with her and I was like, Mom, I need you to think for 1 minute how you would feel if you lost one of us kids because we didn't do something very basic that we could do to protect ourselves. And then she and I both started crying. And I was like, Mom, you're my most prized possession in this world. I need you to do every single thing that they say to do. You gotta wash your hands religiously. You gotta, sterilize like all the surfaces in your house that you touch. You need to not go out. If you need something, let me know. I'll go get it for you. And then when I get it for you, it sits out in the sun for a couple of hours before it goes in the house. This sunshine is going to, we don't know how much, the UV is going to kill the coronavirus, but it seems to kill a lot of other bugs, so we're just taking every precaution that we can here. And, but also we had a little social distancing bonfire in my backyard the other night. A couple neighbors came and we all sort of sat, 6 feet apart around the bonfire and just talked and shot the shit. And, so our lives have been totally disrupted, but also there's some threads we need to keep going through it. When I went running yesterday, I said hi to every single person I saw.
How is that over there? Because when I go running here, I'll be on the running path, and because of the social distancing measures, I see the fear in people's faces. They either walk away, get either literally close to the street, close to the cars, and me, I'm a social fucking being, man. I'm always saying hi, trying to talk to people. Hence,
Yeah, yeah,
hence this podcast, right? Uh,
yeah.
but it's weird. It's fucking weird. Now it's just like they don't even want to open their mouth to say hi because they're afraid that if me running, breathing heavily, I'm a
Yeah.
beast, right? And then they're just walking. They're just afraid. So it's changing the behavior. It's changing the social norm. So how is it over there for you guys? And
It's weird. I mean, I don't. Running's always weird. I feel like because in New York, I remember running, and just nobody said hi to each other. It was just like
oh, so,
everybody got their fucking earbuds in and just doing their own thing. And then when I was in Atlanta, I I just I didn't go to a park or running. You just go out the front door and run wherever you are. And I found myself running through a lot of black neighborhoods. And I was only the only white guy in the neighborhood. And I was like, well, I understand. This is their turf. This is where they live. I'm the intruder. At a basic level, I gotta just be polite and friendly, right? So then every time, when I was running through black neighborhoods, I would see people, I'd just say hi to them. And then I was like, well, it's racist to say hi to black people, but not to white folks. So then I just started smiling and saying hi to everybody, and I hate it. But that's like, but that is the best. I'm always like just scowling and like, oh, my leg hurts. I don't want to run, whatever. To force myself to smile and say hi to everybody sucks. I hate it, but it's good. I know it's the right thing to do. And then where I run now, there's a canal that runs through Phoenix, and I started like running up to the canal and then running along the bank of the canal because it's a little bit cooler there. But the canal is full of homeless people and junkies, and um, so now they all know me, and I know all of them. I'm like, hey, what's up? You know. So now we like wave and say hi to each other. And the yesterday, this made me smile a lot. There's like one apartment complex there that's like right on the canal, and and I think it's mostly African immigrants
Hmm.
because there's always like they have their clothes hanging on the chain link fence to dry, or like just laid out on the lawn to dry. And there's one day I ran by and there were a couple of like black kids like down by the canal, and it was clear to me from watching them that this was a very foreign thing for them, you know.
What
And
was that for running? You running?
well, no, just the canal, that I could tell that they were experiencing it for the first time.
Okay, got
That
it.
they, and they're always, when they saw me, they lit up, they're all waving, hi, hey, what's up, and then, but yesterday when I ran, there were a couple of African ladies who were like bringing their wash in or whatever, and I got big smiles from them. They like seeing a white boy with tattoos with his shirt off running on the canal.
Well, you're a
the
big sexy dude, dude. So that's why they were smiling.
the so I don't know, man. It's weird. It's funny. I definitely feel like there are people who are sort of giving me a wide berth, as I run by them. But then also, there was a homeless dude, who sort of had his head down and then like looked up as I ran past, and I got a whiff of the wine sweat or whatever coming off him, and I was like, oh, if I can smell that, then I ran too close to him. You know what I mean? It's like you're doing all this math in your head, and it's just like it's I don't know. If I fucking get sick, I get sick. You know, I'm taking every realistic precaution that I can, but um if I don't run out of fear, I'll be doing more damage to myself.
Yourself, yeah.
You
I was
know?
thinking about the comment that you made about the will and talking to your mom. So as I told you, my parents are in Dominican Republic, right? So the resources that they have over there are not the same that they have here. And even if they are well suited over there, think about the New York City, where you think that they would be resourceful right now, but they're struggling with the resources that they have. So I had that conversation with my mom as well. So hey, unfortunately, I think like you too, right? We got to think about that. Hey, if you get sick, I'm not going to be able to travel down there, right?
Yeah.
Or if I get sick here, you're not going to be able to travel over here. At the same time, my daughter is in New Jersey, so it's just like we're living in this crazy fucking world right now. It's just like people are dying in the hospital without people being able to see their loved ones for the last time, right? So people have to
Yeah.
go. The nurses have to call FaceTime if they can just to say their last bye. So I think it's a crazy, crazy thought, but it has to be done, like you said.
Yeah, it's wild. We were hanging out the other night and talking about it. My mom, turned to me and she was like, Mishka, if I get sick, you don't come and hold my hand, when I'm sick. You leave me there, and obviously like bring me food and supplies and medicine and stuff like that if you can, but you don't come and hold my hand when I'm
Yeah.
sick. And I was like, Mom, I totally see where you're coming from, and and you're totally right, and try and fucking stop me. The if It's so hard because I I lecture everybody. It's so important to me that everybody does the right thing here. Of be responsible, think of others, think of the welfare of humanity. Don't just think of your own selfish needs. Don't hoard, contribute. um you know think about the group, think about, and I know that what my mom is saying is totally right. You know, she, the last thing that she wants to um, to have happen is for her to get sick, and then for her to get me sick, or somebody, somebody else that she cares about. But the reality of it is, that, if my mother was dying, and if I didn't go to be with her, even if I put my health at risk, I would never forgive myself. I would carry that with me till the day that I die.
Yeah.
So for me, it would be worth taking the risk of getting sick and getting seriously sick, to be there with my mother, in that dark hour. But what happens after that then? I come back here and get Rachel sick, and then whoever else is around me, I get them sick. That's how this thing is spreading.
Yeah.
So it's a conundrum, and it's hard too here in Phoenix because like the it's not like New York, there isn't this, there isn't a huge outbreak. There's not panic in the streets. I do have a friend here who got it, who contracted it.
Oh, shit.
And he was here at my house after he'd been exposed. We were hanging out together in the backyard. He was over here for a couple of house shows that we did. I didn't get it from him. I don't think anybody else at the, those parties got it from him, but we could have. He's since recovered. But it's not, it would be easy for me to tell myself, oh, everything's fine, and go out and try and live my life, like normal. So instead we have this, like, it's gorgeous here. The grass is coming up, the trees are flowering. My idiot little special needs cat is just rolling around in the dirt. She's just in heaven, but all that beautiful stuff is poisoned with this sense of dread of what's coming, what's in the pipeline for all of us. I think I will hypothesize that I think in Arizona we're going to be spared the worst of it because we don't have the population density that a lot of other places do.
You guys are spread out over there, yeah.
Yep. And and also it's not like I work at a Circle K or something like that where I'm sort of constantly exposed to stuff. And I'm pretty healthy. My mom's 73, but she's pretty healthy. We're all, pretty healthy. And the heat's going to be here in a month too. It's
Is it
going to
always
be
hot over there though?
Yeah, dude. I was dying on the run yesterday, and it'll be another hot one today. And in a month and a half, it'll be up over 100 degrees during the day.
Ah,
Yeah, it sucks, dude. It sucks, and it's gonna be a total nightmare to be stuck in my tiny little house. But I think the heat is gonna save our asses because nothing can live in that heat, and people socially isolate in the summertime in Arizona anyway, because nobody wants to go out in the heat. It's not like people are like going to dance clubs and stuff like that. You can't go to the movie theater now.
yeah.
There's not really any place for people to congregate here, in the summertime. So I think in the summertime we'll be fine. I think it'll be like, October, November when it starts to cool down, that maybe there'll be a resurgence here, but we have no idea. So do you remember the colony collapse that was happening like 3-5 years ago, maybe 8 years ago? They were saying all the bees are dying off.
Yeah, yep.
That stopped happening.
They're still fine.
Something happened. I don't know if it's the bees figured it out or, and I haven't done a ton of research into this, but for a while there in the news, we were reading all these like real dire predictions of like, the central role that, bees play in pollinating plants and stuff like that. And if all the bees die, we're going to be screwed. And then we just sort of stopped hearing about it. And it like stopped happening. So I don't know if the bees figured something out, if there was some, if it was like Roundup that people were using or something, and then they stopped using it. But so there exists a model there for, we could find some silver bullet for coronavirus, where um, 2 or 3 months we have it licked,
Hmm.
right? I don't think that's going to happen, but that is a possibility too.
I think the University of Pittsburgh just I saw like you said, the first thing I do when I when I wake up, and the last thing I do is typically for some odd reason just continue fucking reading the news. But I think the University of Pittsburgh just published that they may have found some type of a medicine that could help out with this stuff. I don't know. Hopefully that's true because
University of Saskatchewan, they're working hard on vaccines there. It is, and that's one of the things that I think is important for each of us for managing our mental health with this, is to find resources for good news.
yeah.
You know, and for Reddit, I'll sort of like look for specific. There's a thread on Reddit of life pro tips for coronavirus. Um, my mom and Rachel and I are going to work this weekend to make face masks out of shop towels from like Napa and AutoZone,
Okay.
because the towels there are knit in a certain way that less gets through. And if you double one of those over, you can still breathe through it, but it's going to do a lot more to to prevent viruses getting through than some other masks.
So you already have
So
you already have the prototype, I guess, to do that.
we're working on it this weekend. There's a ton of DIY mask designs out there. Some of them are better than others, and it's really tricky to sort of sift through the information. But I think it's safe to say that any kind of mask is better than no mask.
That's true.
Um, and it's real easy to, I think we're going to come up with a design for a mask with a metal clip over your nose, like
That we
those
could
N95.
tighten it.
Yeah. But a clip that's removable. So you can take the metal clip out and then put the mask in the microwave to microwave it at the end of the day to sterilize it or whatever. And I won't be wearing a mask while I'm running or something like that. But when I have to go to the grocery store, sure, I'll do it. Um, the I want to do a cool one with the fangs on it, like the MMA fighters.
My business, I had to close it, dude, because I have no customers. So
Yep.
I'm one of those like everybody else, right? And the last trip I took down to Louisiana, where a lot of my customers are located, my wife, she's like, you have to wear a mask on the plane. I was like, yeah, yeah, sure. I took 3 masks, one to go, one to come back, and one for just in case. I sat down on the plane. I was like, I'm not gonna be like, I didn't wear a mask. I didn't. On the way back, she said, "Hey, did you wear a mask?" I was like, "No, I didn't." But now with all this news coming out of Louisiana, Louisiana is a hot zone, right? So I started thinking like, "Fuck, should I have worn it?" But luckily, I was not infected. I'm okay. But to your point, man, I think it's one of those things that we're gonna have to start thinking about more and more. Wearing masks to protect ourselves.
Yeah, it's tricky because the I was in New York for 9/11, and people were like, well, you got to come home or you got to get out of there. And you know September 12th, I made up my mind. I was like, fuck no, I'm
I'm
not giving in.
staying.
Yeah, I'm not giving in to fear. No, like New York's my home. I'm gonna stay here until I'm ready to leave. Nobody's driving me out. Nobody's telling me what to do. You know. And in January, when the shit was popping off in China, Rachel was like, "This looks pretty bad," and I was like, "Yeah, whatever. We had H1N1 and SARS and all this shit. It's gonna be fine. You're getting all worked up for no reason." She was right. I was wrong. She was saying like, "Oh, there's all these videos coming out of Wuhan of like nurses crying and stuff like that." I was like, it's just the internet is full of bad information and all these like conspiracy theories. Somebody sent me a video the other night about how the coronavirus is actually spread by 5G technology.
What?
Yeah, no, fucking bullshit, dude. No, it's just it is, you
Hold on,
know,
hold on, hold on, hold on. So somebody said that it's spread by 5G technology. I'm just breaking this down so I can understand. Basically through a phone,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
and people
yeah,
out there probably believing it.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I get it because we have viruses on computers and like viruses. And yeah, no, I know, it's idiotic, but it's so there's with
Dude, I'm
so
still
much
I'm still replaying that in my head.
I know it's crazy with so much bad information kicking around out there. Um, it's easy to write off good information,
Yeah,
and guys like you and I, when when our ladies are telling us, like, no, you gotta take precautions. We gotta drop the pride and drop that like male ego and just do the thing.
dude.
And, I
I
mean, when I was talking to my nephew about it, and I was like, "Are you worried? Are you scared?" And he was like, "Not." He was like, I'm 18. I'm like, it's not going to affect me." And I was like, "Yeah, but you could get it, and you could give it to my mom, and then she could die." And he was like, "Oh." And then the next day, he was texting her, and he was like, "I don't want you leaving the house. You shouldn't be going anywhere." And I was like, "Okay, good. Now I put the fear in you." So, uh, but it's we got to not give in to fear, but we do need to embrace preparedness and precautions. And um, I don't know, I mean, when I was a kid, my dad always used to say, ancient Chinese curse, may you live in interesting times. And it's like, holy shit, that has proved to be
True.
way too prescient,
Yeah.
for what we're going through now.
So yeah, man, so how I see videos now with you also keeping yourself busy, putting some live shows with with your guitar.
Yeah.
How's it? I guess how's that going for you right now too?
It's all right. It's a weird, I mean, to just be sort of shouting at screens as a means of communicating with one another. It's not, it's not the same. It's
And I'm assuming as you're also damn a comedian, so you need that feedback from the audience. And if
my
you don't
friend,
have that,
my friend Jay Whitecotton said that, to be a comedian is like being a musician, but the instrument that you're playing is the audience. Right.
okay.
So this idea of like people recording comedy videos on their own or whatever, nobody's funny without people laughing. We need that. We need that. And so I did a couple of shows for people, and they were it was cool. It was interesting. It was new. It was unlike anything else I've done. Um, but also everybody's out of work now. So like there were a couple of like hardcore fans who were like, "Yeah, I definitely want this," or I want to help, but it's not going to be a reliable source of income for me. You know, um, I did a couple of them. I'll pitch it one more time. Then I'm going to try and do, you know, uh, I'm going to try and teach writing and do editing stuff for people, and because I think hopefully, a lot of people are taking this as opportunities to work on playing music, writing, stuff like that, self improvement at home, and not just getting hammered and playing PlayStation all day long. But that's the thing is, even if coronavirus, if every case stopped today, the amount of disruption that's been done to the global economy,
It's done.
we're going to be feeling the hangover from that for years.
Yeah, I think the behavior is still going to be there for sure because people are not going to go. They are going to go back to work, but they're going to be fearing that if somebody sneezes or coughs or they look like they're sick, it's like, do they have the virus, right? Or do they have
Yeah,
something else?
Yeah.
Um, no, I get you, man. Because I think even with me doing this podcast, obviously, stream of revenue is important for all of us.
Yep.
So how do we innovate and try to get that off the ground for all of us? So that's why I was just curious to see, because I've seen a lot of other artists doing it, and then I saw you doing it. I was like, oh, maybe he's benefiting from that too. But at the same time, you don't have an audience, man. It's tough.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the other thing is, I mean, not to put too fine of a point on it, but like, I probably made $500 doing that, and then now it's done. I feel like everybody who was going to opt in for one of those shows did when they did, and now no more people are coming forward.
Yeah.
So I'm going to keep doing. I'm going to keep like flogging it, try and keep selling those, try and keep selling T-shirts, stuff like that. Um, but gotta look at other stuff too. I'll
Also,
be I'll
go
be a
ahead.
cam girl in 3 months from now.
You'll be a what? A
A
cam
cam
girl?
girl.
The heck is a
Yeah,
cam girl?
doing sexy striptease stuff and
A cam girl. No, I got it. I got it. A cam girl. I wish I could join you in that, my friend, but no. But no, man. Thanks for doing this podcast, dude. I think this is
yeah, yeah, absolutely. No, it was a great opportunity for you and I to catch up. It's been way too long. People ask about you all the time, like, "Yo, whatever happened to that dude?" I was like,
who's that?
still Black Steel. Still, this
Still
is still
Black
person
Steel.
being. Yeah, man.
Dude, I was reading your book last night.
Awesome.
The one that you signed for me. This is pretty
Yeah.
cool, dude. Obviously you gave it to me a while ago. I think it was, when did you write it? You wrote it
I think it came out 2015, 2016.
2016. Yeah, I got it over here March 8th, 2016. I swear I'll make it up to you. But I also
Yeah.
saw that you got the other books translated into German and
Yeah.
Spanish. I was
Yeah.
like,
German, Spanish. The long run got translated into Japanese and Polish too.
I saw that. It's fucking cool, dude.
It's killer. It's killer.
How about
Yeah.
Shipwreck? Is that one gonna? I think that was one of the first ones that you introduced out there. Shipwrecked.
Yeah. The that one's been translated into German and um and I think it's been translated into Spanish. The It's funny, that all that stuff is like old to me now and I forget about it. And then every once in a while it'll like, rear its head again. And I'm like, oh yeah, it's like you put that stuff out into the world and then you sort of forget about it, but it keeps going.
Mm, hmm I mean, yeah. What is it? You have one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine books, and then a tenth one coming out.
You just got to keep making new shit, man.
Especially nowadays, you just got to be innovative, man.
Yeah.
No, man. Uh, what you got going on for the rest of the day?
I gotta run to the post office. I gotta ship out a bunch more stuff. I'm trying to sell my pickup truck right now. Worst time to be selling it,
To,
but gotta
to
go.
who? To who? I mean, you could probably set an auction up, a live auction.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing is that like Arizona's not yet totally locked down, and
Okay.
so hopefully somebody will buy the truck today, and then just the normal usual stuff. Got to get it run in. Got to clean some cat poop. I gotta mow the lawn. The normal everyday stuff.
Well, did you like that schedule I sent you? Man, when I opened up my email, I was like, "This is validating that I'm done. I'm doing something good."
I loved it. I loved it. I
You're
read
like,
it
"You
last night.
fucking maniac." I was like,
It's good. I love it. I mean, I remember when we did, I can't remember which run it was, but you had a whole spreadsheet with nutrition and pee breaks and all this stuff, and I was
"Oh,
like,
there was Vermont 100."
yeah. And then it went right out the window. I mean, all that planning I think is useful and stuff, and I loved reading the outline and then being able to just give you shit for it. But I was like, yeah, it's all going out the window.
Oh no, man! It's actually I thought about that after I read it. I was like, he's so right. Let's just flow with it, and that's exactly how it's been.
Yeah,
Let's
yeah,
just roll with it. It was just me thinking ahead. That way, I know, hey, how many books you. Because again, I didn't. when I started seeing all the books, I was like, fuck, this guy has written more than what I ever would have thought.
Well, no, it's good. It's good to do all that, like the research and the prep beforehand. I've done podcasts with people where within 45 seconds of the podcast opening, I was like, you've never read anything I've ever written. You've never listened to a song I've ever done. All you've done is heard me on another podcast, another bigger podcast where you're trying to get their listenership. And so you're poaching their guests.
Yeah.
And you know nothing of my story or my work, and you're just expecting me to come on and sort of do the, like, the little, whenever the big giveaway is, when people are like, oh, so you're an exercise addict now. And it's like, in every story about running, I talk about how I'm not. And, then people say, oh, so do you still go to meetings? And I'm like, in every story that I talk about addiction and sobriety, I talk about how I've never gone to meetings. So those are two big giveaways that, like, you fucking haven't read a thing, have you?
The scary part is that I gave you pretty much the high level, but if you were to see my fucking spreadsheet over here, you'd be like, you're a fucking maniac. So that's why I was like, that pretty much validated that I did something good over here.
Yeah, good stuff.
Oh man. But dude, thank you so much. Hopefully, whoever listens to this podcast gets to see that, sobriety is doable.
Yes.
Right? It's doable because obviously you've faced that challenge before. And I think, I told you when I first met you, I was hitting the bottle pretty hard myself because of shit that was going in my life. And like Mishka said, sometimes it's as easy as putting the bottle down, but figuring out, how to fill that void, right? Just get a cat, clean up the poop, pick up
Sometimes
something
that's
else.
all it is. It's just a little thing like that just grounds you to this world, like, and I have that responsibility now of looking after my cat. She can't look after herself. And every morning when I wake up, that's the first thing I think about. I got to make sure she's fed, she's got her water, and sometimes just having a little thing like that, that's all you need, to keep you invested.
For sure, my friend. All right, so I'm going to sign off.
Right on.
This is Luis Ramirez with Mishka Shubaly on the conversation. If you want to sign up on YouTube, also Apple Podcasts or SoundCloud. Looking forward to having you as a subscriber, and I'm out.
Luis, I love you, buddy. Thanks for doing this.
Thank you, my friend. I'll just